Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the L.A.M.E Book Club podcast. My name is Melissa.
I'm Ellie.
And today we are going over the Assassin in the Desert novella, a part of the Assassin's Blade book in the Throne of Glass series. That was a little bit of a mouthful, but I know you're all tracking with us, so I'm excited to jump into it. But before we do, Ellie, take it away.
Yes. This week's book news, SJM came out with her long-awaited third Crescent City book, which is speculated to also be the, fifth ACOTAR book. We don't know. We haven't read it yet, but everyone's going crazy.
But she did release we mentioned this last week, but in the little like snippet, not even the prologue, just she released a sentence from the book, and it talked about how Nesta and Asriel were in whatever scene that
with Bryce from Crescent City.
That she released. So it looks like the beginning of the Massiverse. And honestly, I'm kind of surprised. I guess I'm surprised. Maybe it's because I haven't read Crescent City yet, so that could be part of it. But I'm a little bit surprised that the merge is starting in an existing series and not in a brand new one.
We'll revisit.
Maybe to me that makes
revisit.
Yeah, I don't. Okay, but that's my 2 cents for right now.
As far as my world goes, I am now an inch through Crescent City, and it is really picking up. It is a good book. I'm shocked. I really thought this is the dud. This is her miss, but it's not.
Didn't you say that I forget what the title of it is, the first book in Crescent City, House of what?
Yeah, I think it's Earth and Blood or Blood and Earth.
Yeah.
Who's to say? No, it's Earth and Blood, because I always think the acronym's weird.
Yeah, but didn't you say that word on the street is that outside of Aquartemis and Fury, this is the best book she's ever written?
So, yes, so I saw, now it's an unpopular opinion because, at least to me, it's unpopular. Tower of Dawn was listed fourth, and are you joking me? But it was Asimov, which we can all unanimously as one girl brain agree with that. And then it was House of Earth and Blood. And so I was really excited that, wow, next to that masterpiece of a book, this one's second place. I'm in for it. So far, I'm really getting into the story. It took me about 200 pages to get into it, but now I can't put it down. So that is the book news this week.
I'm excited too. I mean, I know we're going through Assassin's Blade still, but in real life, I am about 70% of the way through Heir of Fire in the Throne of Glass series, and I am so grateful that I'm gonna have a good thing to. Well, yeah, but I'm so grateful that I'm gonna have a good thing to jump into when this is done, because I'm not wasting any time. I am not waiting. I am just gonna immediately. I'm prepared for whatever depression and that I'm going to have when this series is over, and the cure is going to be Crescent City. So I'm excited to have something to fall into after.
Yeah.
Which means when I'm done with Crescent City, it's just going to be double as hard, because it's going to be the fall from Throne of Glass and then also that series.
Well, and I don't know if you know, I don't think this is spoiling anything because everybody talks about it, but Crescent City is based in present day. And so it's
like more modern fantasy.
Really hard to wrap my mind around that they're using cell phones and
I'm curious.
Works,
I feel like a lot of people say that. I'm
works.
Just curious to see if that's my take on it, or if it's going to be they have phones. We'll see.
I don't know. It's so different, but it's pretty good. Yeah. Okay, so we got a review this week. Do you want to read it?
I don't have it in front of me. Can you do it?
I also don't have it in front of me.
Okay, well, just kidding. I can pull it up. Here it is. And here we go. All right, it is from.
That was so fast. I'm
so
impressed that you moved that quick.
I really was thinking that you were gonna do it, so that's why. I mean, I have it. Anyways.
My phone's across the room. Couldn't be me.
It's from spoiler alert 1943. Good name. The title is Come for the Book, Stay for the Banter, 5 stars. This podcast got me back into fantasy books and I'm hooked. The inside joke's my favorite part because I finally feel like I'm part of the in crowd. Been a listener since day one, and I will continue to read along with whatever book they read next. So thanks a lot, spoiler alert, 1943. Really appreciate it. I'm
glad. My whole week. I
know,
I get
honestly.
so excited when we get reviews. I love it.
I know we do.
Yep.
So thank you again. Go ahead if you haven't already. Follow us. It's L.A.M.E Book Club Pod on all socials. I believe that's our handle on YouTube too. If you just type in L.A.M E Book Club Podcast, it'll be the first thing that pops up. But yeah, if you aren't, subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Instagram if you're not haven't already, and if you would be so kind as to leave a review, specifically on Apple Podcasts, that would be great. It helps our algorithm.
5 stars only. We're sensitive.
We are sensitive girls. But
3 stars or less, keep it in.
Anyways, thank you guys for being here. We're excited that you're joining us. We're just two girls who like to talk about the books that they're reading. So it's a lot of fun for us, and we appreciate having you around. And with that, Ellie.
No, not yet. Nope, don't jump in.
Why not?
I have a question for you.
Oh, you're so right.
I'm so
okay,
right.
What is it?
Okay, so hot question of the week. Out of all the books we've read so far, which is ACOTAR, a little bit of Assassin's Blade, and Iron Flame and Fourth Wing, not in that order, if you could take one scene from any of those books, because none of these books have been made into feature films or TV adaptations yet, but if you could take one scene from any of these books and turn it into like an epic Game of Thrones style cinema feature, what scene would it be?
Okay. When it comes to, like you said, epic drama scene, the first thing that comes to my mind is the very end of Iron Flame when the ward stone, Brennan had just mended it, and Celaena is siphoning her mom's power into it.
Really?
Okay, that would get me in the feels. And then also on top of that, we have Andarna breathing fire. And so I mean, that maybe that was the first thing that came to my mind because you mentioned Game of Thrones, so then I also think dragon.
Sure, yeah.
But as far as like just drama, absolutely it has got to be chapter 54 of A Court of Mist and Fury. That's the only answer. That's the only right answer when it comes to drama. So
yes, absolutely. Although after rereading this third novella in Assassin's Blade, I also found I'll post it on our Instagram, but I think it's art by Roki, but an artist did a interpretation of, and we'll talk about this, but Celaena kneeling in front of the mute master for the first time, and I don't know why that got me in my feels. It was such a beautiful depiction of that scene. I loved it. So I feel like I almost would really like the end battle scene of this novella.
I do that too. I agree.
Yeah. It was really good. I cried twice rereading it. Knowing what happened, I cried again twice. It was horrible. It was great.
Is where Assassin's Blade picked up for me. I know I mentioned it in the last episode that the first two were just not it for me, and I get it. I mean, truly, especially now that I'm on Heir of Fire, so like at this point in the series, I would have already read Assassin's Blade. I still think the first two, I would have been like, ugh, reading them. So I don't think it had anything to do with the fact that I read the book first. But even still, this one is where it picked up for me in this book. And then this one and the last two, I was obsessed with. So I'm very excited to talk about it today.
You told me that in real life, and I thought, that's so weird. I feel like I was so into Assassin's Blade as soon as I picked up the book, but then reading through it again, as soon as I got to this novella and actually read through, I'm like, this is so action-packed, and I'm so in my feels, and it's plot twists. It truly was the creme de la Edgar of the novellas.
It really was. Honestly, this is
all right.
This is some of SJM's finest work, if I do. Well,
I would agree.
I mean,
No, I would
especially
agree.
considering that she was young when she wrote this too. So impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so with that being said, Melissa, are you ready?
I am so ready. Let's go.
Okay.
Okay, let's go.
Let's do it. Okay. So Celaena arrives at the Red Desert and notes the unbearable heat. I don't really know why I put that in there because it's the desert. I feel like we should all just assume that it's heat, but she notes the unbearable heat.
I think in the book
yes.
it was important to reference because she came from Rifthold, where it's not nearly as hot. So it's less that it's not that it's
One
not
might
obvious
say
that
it's
it's
the
hot.
desert.
It's not that it isn't obviously the desert and warm. I think it's just her being like, holy crap, it's hot. Which is how I felt when I moved to the desert. So I understand.
Oh my gosh, so true. I think I was going to go more into how she kind of adapted, but I ended up not going that way with the summary. So let's just keep in the back of our minds that she adapted and that I started off on a different foot. So she was sent by Arabin, again, as a punishment for freeing the slaves. She's to train with the silent assassins and ultimately retrieve an approval in 1 month from the mute master. Did this give you Kung Fu Panda vibes or what?
Okay.
I was like, so that's Master Sifu.
And Celaena is Jack Black. No. I just need to give a little bit of background here because a lot of times for these outlines that we kind of like go off of just to make sure we're staying on topic when we're doing our episodes, which we did always go off topic anyway, so I don't even know why we do it. But a lot of times I'll put them together. But so far for this book series, Ellie's been putting them together because she's read all of them. And I'm not done with the series yet. But this question, it says, does it give you KFP vibes? I've been this entire time, I've been like, what the heck is KFP? So
I did that on purpose because I didn't want you to think that joke was coming. And then I was going to throw it in and get your like raw reaction, which was well worth it.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be completely honest. It has been a very long time since I've seen Kung Fu Panda, so I don't truthfully remember what happens in the book. And the look you just gave me is on
like
you. That's not on me.
Anybody would go more than a week without watching Kung Fu Panda.
It's
in
not
my world,
insane.
That's unheard of.
Here's the crazy thing too. I have kids. And it's been a long time since I've seen Kung Fu Panda.
Guys, let's not get into that. Okay.
So to answer your question, I don't know.
To answer the question for both of us, yes, it does. Celaena meets the mute master and tells him her intention, where, she wants to train with him, get his approval. But in the midst of their meeting, her thoughts drift back to Sam. Aw. Celaena. Go
Keep
ahead.
going. No.
Oh. Okay. Well, the mute master tests her to see where she's at in her training by having 4 assailants attack her after the attack, where she obviously just wallops them because, and I quote, she is Celaena Sardathian after all. The mute master assigns Ansel to show Celaena around. Ansel turns out to not only be Celaena's guide, but her roommate as well, and they seem to click instantly. Have you ever had a friend that you clicked instantly with?
I actually have. I would say, unlike yourself, most of my...
Yeah, that's not me.
Most of my good friends outside of you, well, I guess maybe not outside of you, on my end, I thought we clicked pretty quickly. But I'd say most of the people that I'm close with, I had a fairly quick, connection. Things just, felt very natural pretty quickly. So, yeah, I would say pretty much everyone that I'm close with still as an adult.
Yeah, you have a very sunshiny personality, so I feel like it's very easy for you to just mesh with people, where I'm very black cat personality and I do not mesh well. I don't know. I need to fix
I don't feel like you don't give black cat initially though. So
that's good. I change into it subtly. I start off as a golden retriever.
Get to know you.
You're
I wouldn't say you start as a golden retriever, but you don't start black cat either. It's about...
My mom calls me a hedgehog. I give hedgehog energy. Very cute, but pokey.
You're not even... Yeah, I don't know. I would say maybe deer. It's oh, wow. Look at that. Look at that deer. But pretty. You're but you spook easy. So you're gotta be... Yeah. Don't walk too fast. Approach quickly. Approach gracefully.
That's the one. Okay. So that night, Celaena dreams about what happened the day that she came back from Skulls Bay. Arabin, and we finally get a peek into this, and I think we've just been guessing since she showed up at the in Inish at the White Pig Inn. So Arabin had his men hold Sam while Celaena watched with dread. She assumed that they would beat Sam in front of her, and she was so concerned with him that she only realized after literally Arabin punched her straight in the face that the punishment was for Sam to watch her be beat. Heartbreak.
I know. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Arabin
And I will
said,
say,
"You're
I
not."
called this out
Oh.
on the first episode. I
Mm-hmm.
thought that they would fall in love. And so all the dominoes were a fallen in this one. Because then
Yeah.
it just, ugh, gutted.
I like though that like they haven't really had much more interaction other than Skulls Bay in this beating, and like she's
Honestly.
falling in love with him from a distance, like she's just
Mm-hmm.
thinking about him, and I love that development. It's different, so I like that.
It's very cute. I agree.
So Arabin says to her, "You're not going to enjoy this. You will not forget this, and I don't want you to." And then just absolutely destroys her. Um, what was your relationship with Arabin at this point? Because personally, like I felt weird because he's obviously a bad guy. He just beat one Celaena, my heart, but also a girl in general. I don't know about that.
But then not even just
Um,
that, but like made someone watch. Like as a
exactly. No,
punishment
like
too. Like,
right. So he's obviously a bad guy. We know he's a
yeah.
bad guy. However, Selena's loyalty still lies with him for the most part in this part of the book. And so I kind
Yeah.
of felt like, okay, so my loyalty also lies with him because if she doesn't think he's that bad and is still
Mm.
honoring what he wants to do for a punishment, then like she's going to go back to him. So I guess we are okay with him. Maybe that's just how it is in the Assassin's Keep. What was your relationship with him?
No, wasn't me. I agree that I'm like, okay, he's obviously like not good.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't there as far as like, okay, well, Celaena's still loyal to him, so maybe he'll turn a corner. For like at this point in the book, I was like, I got very much like Stockholm syndrome vibes. Like he was
Mm.
a father figure to her, and
Mm.
he trained her, and the training was intense. And
Mm-hmm.
so she has only ever known him as being a very hot and cold figure in her life. He's
Mm-hmm.
always been extreme. And
Yeah,
this is just
exactly.
the
Yeah.
newest form of being extreme. But because
Right.
I'm not invested in it, I can see the
Mm-hmm.
toxicity in the relationship. But
Couldn't have put it
she
better
is blinded
myself.
to it because that's
Exactly
like,
how
I
I
mean,
felt.
she was 8 when her parents died, and
Yeah.
he found her. So, and at this point she's 16, almost 17, and or maybe she was 17, I can't remember, but she's young.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, for at least half if not a little over half of her life, this is all she's known. It's the only parent
Yeah.
figure she's had. So it was hard to
Exactly.
read because I she just SJM did such a good job at making you like feel for her, but like at the
Mm-hmm.
same time understand why.
Mm-hmm.
Like I understood that she was still loyal to him even though I didn't want her to be. I got it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the hard part of it too. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well
I like, I don't
put.
know.
Very well put.
Thanks. Honestly
Okay,
too,
so
like
Selene. Yeah.
really, I was just gonna say, even depending on like your past and how you handle things, their relationship actually could have even been triggering too for some people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could see how it would be triggering.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Um. Okay. So Celaena goes through the rest of her week training with the acolytes, but not the mute master. She's getting frustrated since she's only there for one thing, which is his approval. And she only has 1 month. One of the acolytes that Celaena meets is Ilias, the mute master's son, and there's some tension,
Was he
like flirty
are they
tension.
all Wait, pause. I have a question.
Yeah.
Now that I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking about it, when I read it, I thought the acolytes were just the people who weren't assassins yet. Were they all acolytes? Because I thought like Ansel and Ilias and Mateus, I think. I can't remember the other guy.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't
Michael.
um Mikal, thank you. Mikal. Um I'm
Oh.
pretty sure they were all like silent assassins, but then the acolytes were the people who were waiting to be. Maybe not. Maybe I misunderstood it, but that's...
that it describes that because I even just typed it in and it doesn't really say. Oh, wait.
At the end of the day, now that
assassins share techniques. I've lost it. Hold on.
You know what? Now that I'm saying it out loud, I don't even really think it's that important knowing what happens in the story.
Yeah. All right. We'll just move on. Now,
ignore me.
Hold on, everybody. Let me pull my notes back up. This is a whole derail. And
I'm so sorry.
We're back. Okay. So there's some flirty tension between Ilias and Celaena. What was your... I'm confused. I'm sitting there confused. I'm like, we're clearly gunning for Sam, but do we want something that's possibly a little healthier? This could be something new.
I was neutral about this. I love Sam, and I loved that she was wanting to get closer with him, but at the same time, at the end of the day, I love, and I would have been okay with her having a summer fling with this guy. I don't think... Yep. I know that that's like probably an unpopular opinion, but I don't know. I just was kind of neutral. I liked that he seemed to be the like cute boy that doesn't normally like girls, but he's like kind of into her, and so it's kind of, I don't know. That makes it a little bit more endearing.
Thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I
think I wasn't so invested in Sam at this exact point. I knew that that's where kind of the story was leading. But when he came in, I was like, well, it's free game. So it's 50. It's a Peeta and Gale situation. Anybody could win at this point. We don't know. So I was open to it. I was just reading. That's all I'm doing.
I was just taking it all in. I'm accepting whatever Sarah's going to give to me. So
exactly. I soak that up like breadcrumbs. I don't think that's a saying, but... All right, so another acolyte is, you called him Mikhail?
Is it Mikhail?
I just called him Michael. But Mikhail sounds more right, so we'll go with that. Who seems to be real sweet on Ansel and vice versa. So Celaena kind of questions her about it, and Ansel says she and Mikhail have been a little thing since they were 15 years old.
No, since she was 15, because he's older.
Yeah, Yeah, okay. So I think she's...
Because she's 18 at this point. Yep.
Yeah.
She's like slightly older than Celaena.
So 3 whole years. He took her under his wing to train when the master basically refused to train her. We find out about Lord Berick. He's the ruler of the city of Xandria, in addition to claiming the Red Desert section that houses the silent assassins, which is causing conflict between the two. He attempts petty attacks every now and then, but it's really nothing too serious. They kind of like laugh it off. In order to negotiate, the Mute Master sends Ansel to Lord Berick as a dignitary to wager on his behalf. After one of those petty attacks, Ansel needs to meet with Lord Berick and invites Celaena along for the ride. Before they leave, Celaena makes a smart comment about where Ansel is from, which allows Ansel to give a little bit of background about her homeland. So, this is important because it's a little foreshadowy. Ansel is
everything's
from
foreshadowing.
The Western Waste.
Everything's important.
Everything she writes the
literally.
And I'm like
there's not
circling
one
it,
thing,
highlighting it, arrows. I'm like,
there is not one thing
so
that
sunny.
is not brought back at some point. Yes,
she's so good. And okay, I sent this to Melissa, but we saw an interview about her of Sarah J. Maas where she was talking about her writing process and how she kind of pairs mates together, and that's not so much the topic of this as much as one of the sentences she dropped, which was, I plan my stories years in advance, which makes sense as an author, but oh my gosh, can you imagine living your life with these theories and these like strings tied to each other of planning your stories and how they're going to plot twist and all this years in advance?
No, absolutely. I cannot, because like I can do that once I have the story and like, okay, so she has laid out the characters for me. She's given me a little bit of direction with where this is all headed. Now I can sit there and be a detective and have my board out and like write all my things and do all the string yarn, connecting the dots. But like to just make all this up,
just to create
couldn't be me. Could not be me. The worlds that she creates.
You know who it could be?
She
Let's say it on a count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Taylor. If you haven't already listened to our final episode of Iron Flame, and then our theories episode. Taylor is a guest on it. She is in it. Honestly, she's a crazy person, but like, I feel like if you just have to like talk to her real time, like that's when your mind is like actually blown about just how insane she is with like I can't even tell you how many times I've told her she needs to write a book. She's so good at figuring these things out.
Don't worry, everyone. If you feel like you're kind of on the outs with like, well, I would never talk to Taylor real time, I've got your back. Here's what I'm doing for all of you, because I love you all. I have screenshotted every theory that Taylor and Melissa have come up with and put them into a little album. And I'm hoping, I've never talked to Melissa about this, but I'm hoping that at the end of this entire thing, we can make a little bonus episode where I drop all of your theories and we talk about whether they're right or wrong. Taylor can come back and just everyone can be mind blown with this point in the book. This is what you all said. And you guessed the freaking ending of the entire series. You know, that kind of thing, which has not happened yet. Thank God. But that's my
gosh, that'll be so fun. Cause I was gonna say the timestamps, receipts, proof. Yeah, I'm saying them out of order, but all of those, that iconic statement from the Real Housewives of Salt Lake. It's gonna be everyone. I think this will put it in perspective for everyone listening who even cares just how wild. Anyways, we'll get into that. That'll be a bonus episode. That'll be fun.
Okay. So Ansel's from the Western Wastes, which includes the Flatlands, a part of the Witch Kingdom. The land was very beautiful when, I'm going to say Croshen. Melissa says Kraken. Okay. We literally fought about it over the week. I'm just going to move forward with Croshen because I cannot get Kraken out of my mouth and feel good about that.
Okay. We need to do, if you're listening, comment, tell us, how do you say it? And if you say it a third way, enlighten us. But I'm not tooting my own horn here. I'm just going to throw out that I did listen to part of this book on an audiobook and it was pronounced Kraken. So I'm not saying
is everyone's human and that person probably also made a mistake because
that's what I'm saying. But at the same time, that was like edited and proofed. So who's to say?
Who? The dumpster man? Okay. So this land was very beautiful when the Croshen witches ruled, but the Iron Teeth clans destroyed it all when they overthrew the Croshen dynasty. Iron Teeth witches have literal iron teeth that they clamp down and iron
It's not a metaphor.
No, it is not a metaphor. They're not strong pearly whites, ladies and gents. They are iron teeth.
They're strong iron.
Yeah,
Right.
Their iron fingernails can just slash through someone's guts and rip it open like nothing even happened. So Ansel says that the last Croshen queen cast a spell that prevents any crops from growing. The animals will wither up and die, and the waters will turn muddy. After that, the Iron Teeth left the land and journeyed east.
Oh, so the Kraken queen that cast the spell.
Jump scare.
The spell is specifically for as long as the Iron Teeth are like ruling that land. Once they're no longer, then the spell goes away.
Mm-hmm. So the lands are back to normal because they left because there was nothing for them there. Okay, so what were your thoughts of hearing about the witches in the story for the first time? Kind of left field.
I'm gonna be totally honest. I didn't think anything of it. I was like, all right, great. Cool story. Like, I'm just cool story, bro. Tell it again. No, I was just along for the ride. I was taking it in. I was way too concerned with Celaena and where this was headed on her end than I was with this story. So I didn't think too much of it. But if I now take a step back and think about it, I think it's cool that we're getting another element of fantasy that I think isn't from my very limited reading experience thus far in my adult life. I feel like witches aren't as common as like fae or vampires or werewolf, you know what I mean? Like some of the other dragons, like some of the other common themes in fantasy books. So I thought it was pretty cool. Again, I'm not saying that there aren't ever brought up. I just feel like they're not introduced as much. So it was kind of, it's cool if I think about it like from that perspective.
No, I thought the same. And I think I've just never read really any fantasy book that include a witch, so I skipped over this. Like, that's a fun fairy tale. Moving
Yeah.
on.
Nice story,
Fully not
Ansel.
expecting that this story would actually include witches, so it's pretty neat. Okay, so when Ansel and Celaena got to Berick's palace, Ansel insisted Celaena spends time shopping while she spoke to Berick. Celaena is our material girl, which we love. But then she stumbled on a merchant selling spider silk, and this stuff is primo. So spider silk is
The
it's
creme
like
de la
this
Edgar
beautiful,
of.
the creme de la Edgar of fabrics. You can't find this at Joann's, people.
You
It
sure
is.
can't.
I view it like a doily that's just like impenetrable. Arrows can't go through it, bullets can't go through it, swords can't go through it. It's, you wear this, you are indestructible.
But it's also prettier than a doily because it's like iridescent. Doesn't it like blend in with like anything that it's like, but at the same time it still has like an iridescent shimmer. I honestly like, this is the coolest thing. Also, we have to very quickly go over the type of spider that, like, I was so impressed. The creativity, I feel like, that it went into just coming up with this concept was mind-blowing.
Yeah.
So they're called stygas. That's how I think that's how you said it.
Stygian.
Oh, you're so right. That's I'm misremembering.
It's the next bullet if you want to read that one and then do your description of them.
Okay, went into a little bit, jumped a little ahead, but
it's kind of not. Go ahead and talk about the spider.
Anyways, it's like the size of a horse, which is terrifying. Yeah. And that's about it. I mean, that's all I really wanted to say. But like, I just I just really wanted to.
This thing, I need to get this out. It's the size of a horse. That's it.
The end. Okay, that's all. That is all that needs to be said.
It's gonna be longer, I guess. Yeah.
I'm telling you, people freak out about living in Australia because of these spiders the size of like, I don't know, like a remote control.
Hamsters.
Could you imagine? Well, I don't know. I'm just looking around to see what's near me. That was the first thing I saw. Yeah. Can you imagine a tarantula the size of a horse? Yeah, right.
In real life, absolutely not. But I do have a good visual.
That's it. Take me out.
Lord of the Rings did a giant spider too, I think.
Was it Lord of the Rings?
Mm-hmm. They wrapped up Frodo, and
You're
was
so
looking
right.
rough.
Okay, again, terrifying. I was gonna say Jungle Book, but that's a snake. Now that I'm thinking about it. Anyways, also terrifying. That giant snake couldn't do it either. Take me out. Action and scene. Cut. Go to the credits. I'm done.
And scene.
But I would kill for some spider silk.
Oh. No, me too. Just okay. And so I got fabric recently to do those little curtains from the library build. If you haven't seen it, hop over to our Instagram. It's adorable. But I got, I think, 6 yards to do that, and I ended up with like 5 yards too many. I have no idea how much fabric this is. So keep that in mind when I read this next part. The merchant tells Celaena that he bargained with the Stygian spider for the silk. 20 years for 100 yards of this stuff. 20 years of his life for 100 yards. That's a lot of yards, but that's a lot of life. My goodness gracious.
Here's the thing. Again, size of the horse. I would rather give 20 years of my life through a third party for the spider silk than to just have to be in the presence of the spider. Like, I would do just about anything to get spider silk except actually approach the spider.
Speaking to the spider aside, would you actually do that? Now, okay, so we find out, I'll just finish this bullet real quick. The spider took the years off of his present day life, not the end of his life like he assumed. So he's a 25-year-old trapped in a 45-year-old's body. The only way to get his years back is by killing the spider that took them. Now, would you, if you could guarantee that the years were coming off the end of your life, and 100 yards of spider silk, I mean, people paid out, like, that's a king's fortune. That's more than a king. That's multiple king's fortunes. That's like a country's fortune. To live that richly and that, I guess, have that much security and wealth and anything you could ever want in your life is there. Would you give 20 years of your life?
No, because you just still don't know when it's going to end. Like, what if you only have 30 years left? Like, I don't know. To me, it's just not the move. It's not worth it. And I don't know. I just feel like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I also
No, my final answer. Final answer is no.
Good answer. I personally also wouldn't, because I feel like time is so much more important than anything else. So
yeah.
That is that on that.
That too. That's a better answer than what I said. I want to cherish every moment I have with my loved ones.
There you go.
There it is.
Love it. So he tells Celaena, the merchant tells Celaena, that he would make it worth her while if she helped him kill the spider. She told him that she literally told him, I'm busy until the end of summer. And I was like, that. I can so relate to that.
I know. Actually, I'm sorry. I'm
busy.
I'm not booked through the end of the year. Sorry. I have spring break coming up, so I don't think I can.
Yeah. I saw someone post something saying, like, I am a 3 weeks out calendar person. If you do not make a reservation, you are not getting a seat at this table. And I was like, that's me. I'm a 3 weeks out calendar person. So she basically says, hey, within a year, if you still need help, go seek out Arabin in Rifthold. And he was like, well, how would I find you? And she was like, just seek out Arabin. He'll know where to find me.
I know. I love how this went back and forth. He's like, but no, like, what's your name? She's like, just seek out Arabin. He's like, okay, but like, where in Rifthold? Just seek out Arabin. Like, okay, but like, what if it's winter? Just seek out Arabin. Like, I just like that that was just like where it went. He asked so many times how to get some kind of personal details, and I feel like this is how every girl needs to be. Anytime a guy asks for any type of personal information when you do not know him, it's like, okay, well, like, what time of the day? Just text me. Okay, well, but like, what area? Just text me. Don't give out personal details, ladies. That is the moral of this story. Honestly, the novella could end right there, and it's a life lesson.
Just the camera like blacks out. We're done.
Yep. And that was novella, The Assassin in the Desert. Have a great rest of your week.
That's episode 24. Okay. So Celaena meets up with Ansel again, who is seemingly unhappy with how the negotiation went. Ansel steals one of Berick's prized Asterian horses because she was not happy with how the negotiation went, and she forces Celaena to steal the other horse. There's two. Yes.
I was like, I don't know. When I remember reading this, I was just like, I get it. She needs Ansel to get back, and Ansel isn't really giving her an option, but I just felt like why go along with it? I guess. I don't know, but I'm just like,
they're just rebellious little spirits. She doesn't care. It's not that serious.
To me, at this point, their friendship wasn't that strong yet. I don't know. Maybe that's just my interpretation of what was happening. And she was so focused on getting the Mute Master to try and train her. I'm like, I mean, I don't know. He literally hasn't spoken a word, so don't know too much about him at this point. But from what I've gathered, this isn't going to be something that would probably go over too well with him. So I'm like, this isn't the move, Celaena, and I feel like you know that. So why are you like doing? I don't know.
She's just a wild heart, just a wild spirit.
I guess.
But Celaena steals the other horse, which is named Casita, in their escape. So Asterian horses, we need to go over this real quick. They're like onyx dark black horses, rarest of the rare horses.
Well, not all of them. The one
royalty have them.
The one, they're just like crazy expensive because they are descendants of like the OG horses of the gods or something, right? Mm-hmm. But the some of them are black. The one that Casita, the one that she had was like gray, I thought.
I don't think so. I think they're all like black. We'll come back to this.
We'll put a pin in that.
So put a pin in that. I love how authors describe like the freely flying feeling when they're just like hands out, they're riding, their hair's in the wind. I love when the movies display that, and I love when authors write about that, which is the moment that Celaena had when she was riding Casita, just feeling like she was absolutely on top of the world.
You know what made me think? You know what that made me think of? spirit. Just when he finally got free, his animated mane is flowing in the animated wind. He's standing on that hill, the wild stallion that could not be broken.
To ask, what was that horse's name?
Oh my gosh, Ellie. We're moving on. I can't do this.
Guys, it's late. Ansel confides in Celaena and tells her, so they're riding together. They just did this crazy journey. And so then Ansel confides in Celaena and tells her the real backstory of her homeland and why she's actually at the Silent Assassin's fortress. Her father and her home, Briarcliff, fell to Lord Locke, the new self-proclaimed High King of the Wastes. She's vowed to avenge her family and pretty much join the Silent Assassins to train in order to do so. The joyride's over when the Mute Master caught wind of what Ansel and Celaena did. So exactly what you said. It's like, Celaena, you knew this wouldn't go over well. But she did it. Celaena actually tries to take the blame, but the Master sees through her and he lets them go with kind of a small punishment of extra chores. But as Celaena turns to walk out, he stops her and silently lets her know that he will train with her in the morning. That caused jealousy. Ansel had yet to be... I know. Ansel had yet to be trained by the Master. She'd been there for 3 years. Yeah, been there for years.
Celaena's been here for a week and she gets to start training with him.
Has that ever happened to you? Have you felt like, oh, someone got that and I've been here for how long? Because I can only think about like ordering sandwiches and when they like put out your order, they're like number 3 and you're like, I was number 1, so that's fine.
I'm laughing because I was going to be like, this isn't very serious, but I feel like that anytime I order food and someone else's order gets there first.
I feel validated. Thank you.
I kind of hate both of us, but I think it's hilarious and that was the first thing I thought of too.
So I absolutely get how Ansel feels.
So they're one and the same and I would be just as peeved. No, I felt like this really was the beginning of showing a lot of Ansel's immaturity. Honestly, because I felt like it was really big of Celaena to take the blame, especially knowing that she has a very limited... She only has 3 more weeks there, and she's trying to do her best to get in the Mute Master's good graces. But after having the heart-to-heart, she feels like close with Ansel, and she doesn't want Ansel to get in trouble because she knows Ansel's been trying for like 3 years to get in this guy's good graces. So she takes one for the team, and I was like that just shows that she's growing. Because, I mean, like, Celaena of Skulls Bay would not have done that. But Celaena in the desert would. And so this is, like, and I think this is why I like this novella so much more. This is her character, like, arc is really coming. She's really starting to develop as, like, an adult, even though she's not even one yet. But then Ansel's reaction, and, like, I get it. She probably was shocked that it's taken her so long and she still hasn't been able to train with him. But her reaction, because I'm only like 60% sure of this, I might be wrong, but wasn't Ansel the one who like translated to Celaena that he wanted to meet her for training? That
double so like whammy, then if you ask me.
For her to be the one to like deliver the news too, she was like kind of like irritated when she told Celaena.
Yeah.
And it's like, I understand the irritation if you've been trying for that long, but I don't know. Just especially after she just took one for the team. Yeah. You know, I don't know. I just felt like this whole situation, I was kind of like about team, Ansel.
I would be pretty upset if this new girl got everything that I've been working towards for the past few years, but that's
totally.
Just me,
but I would be less irritated. I'd be less irritated with Ansel's character if when Celaena was trying to take the blame, if Ansel wasn't like, she's just being nice, this was my, like, if she didn't like try.
Right. Yeah.
Like she didn't do any of that. And so none of that, plus on top of the fact she has a bad attitude about it, which we agree is justified,
gents, but a bad attitude makes everything so much worse.
I don't know. I got the ick from her character at this point, and I'm like, I thought we're supposed to like this girl because I don't like her at this point.
Yeah. Okay. With every lesson that Celaena completes with the Master, she's more resolved to tell Arobynn that she's moving out when she gets back. Because she's kind of, I think she's seeing this healthy dynamic of this is what a Master is to a student. She still owes Arobynn a lot of money because he paid her debts.
So this is so messed up too.
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
They don't really go into it, but he trains.
They like casually mentioned it.
So I don't know if we should go into it, but We can if you want to.
Well, no, they like kind of it's not that they don't, they just, it's, I feel like it's just kind of briefly mentioned. It's not that we're like jumping into this or whatever, but like
he invests into
saved her life,
and then she owes him money for the investments.
But the insane thing to me is that it's not very like upright. He's not very forthcoming with the fact that she's gonna have to pay him back, and like he buys her very expensive and very exquisite things, and then it's just like adds it to the tab. I'm like, I would be like, just stop buying me stuff. Like, how messed up is that? She didn't ask for this life of luxury. She doesn't hate it, but she didn't ask for it, and then to be like forced to pay it back, that's like getting someone else's credit card debt, like, and then being told that you have to pay it off. That sucks.
It's rough, and we kind of get more of a glimpse into that later on, but this is the first we hear that she's indebted to Arabin. She can't just walk out and be like, I'm done here, because she owes him. But she realizes, just because I owe him doesn't mean I have to live with him. So she's like, I'm getting out of there, which, go girl. Midsummer Eve Festival comes around, and it's a festival where the assassins gathered in the largest fortress courtyard and were completely silent together and danced. Ick. Gross. This is the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. Sarah, what are you doing? Sarah.
I was cringing so
I don't
hard
want this
reading
mental
this.
image, Sarah.
Because it's just like picturing everyone, but the fact that she also was like, and I picked up on the rhythms and all this stuff. I'm like, no, you didn't, because this is so unrealistic.
Even hear it. I feel so.
And no one, and imagine if it's quiet, all you're hearing is probably people breathing. Like, that is so uncomfortable. You're making it
so much worse.
That's exactly what it is, though. Like, it's terrible. I would hate it. I would leave. I guess
even
not
show up.
Everyone listening to this, she doesn't know. Not everyone.
I would make a point to find out what this was and not show up.
Not everyone knows this about me, because we're unfortunately not close personal friends with every single person who listens, but I even have a alter ego that has been given to me by people that in my life, called Wedding Melissa.
It's because Wedding Melissa. I love Wedding Melissa.
That is, at this point in my life, that's the only time I get to dance, is at weddings. And it's like a Beyonce Sasha Fierce type situation. Like, I can't even control myself. It's just what happens. So I would leave. And that is coming from the ultimate party goer. And like, that is coming from someone who, like, it fills up my tank whenever I'm the last person on the dance floor.
My opposite in every way when it comes to like social outings.
Most everything.
She absolutely loves to dance. Like, we went to school together. We've done proms together, homecomings, and not that it had a ton of dancing, but it had some. We've done Evening of Dreams, a bunch of just different events, and Melissa is always the first one out on the dance floor and the last one to leave, always dancing. And I am absolutely sitting on the side, like, this is not it. I would like to leave. I'd like to go home immediately. I'd like to read.
I don't even know who she is.
Here. And that's why
it's my favorite
friends.
That's exactly, I was just about to say, and that's why we work. But all that to say, this is worse than a silent disco, because at least in a silent disco,
let's just come back to this.
You have music in your own ears.
Yeah. So Ilias swept Celaena up for a few silent dances, and she leaves the dance after it's over. And Ilias is kind of in tow. She reveals that she's never been kissed.
I don't know why that surprised me so much.
It shocked me too. I mean, she's only 16 at this point, so
I know.
It just shocked me.
I loved it though.
16.
I think, I did too. But anyways, it just surprised me. To be fair, I wasn't a trained assassin, so I think I had a little bit more exposure to boys. But still,
I don't know. She's like always with boys, but I guess she's like not men. Trying to, like,
except outside of Sam, they're all like adults.
Yeah, makes all sense. Ilias shot his shot and went in to kiss her, which this also gives me the ick, because I'm picturing this in my head of just, you've seen the reels where the guy like approaches like this and the girl like backs up. So she backs up. and gave some distance reasons like, well, you're here and I'm in Rifthold, this wouldn't work. But after he left, he gracefully bowed out, which was kind of him.
Yeah,
I
he
like
was really
Elias
cool
because
about
he's
it.
understanding.
Yes. But
But as he leaves, she
yeah.
reveals that it's only because she could not get Sam out of her head in that moment. Hard eyes.
I know. Was it hard eyes though? I think I was impressed with her self-control because I don't think I would have
kissed him.
I'm just being completely honest. I would have kissed him too. I don't think I would have been able to, or been like, because I think this is terrible thinking, but I think in the back of my head, I'm like, how, the like soundbite, how is he gonna know? How are they gonna know? Dun dun dun.
Melissa.
Who's this? I don't know. Like, unless she says something, how is he gonna know?
I guess, and he wouldn't because he's a silent assassin.
Well, yeah. Unless Celaena says something, he sure as heck isn't. So
you can like make all the kiss me. Anyways, that night, Celaena and Ansel get into a petty fight, but it ends with Ansel calling Celaena a spoiled, selfish bitch, which is harsh. But Celaena did say some harsh things about her, like, you'll never go home. It's not there for you, so it was rough. A few, yes.
Just points back to the maturity. Just saying.
For sure.
Wasn't about Ansel at this point anymore.
Yeah, I think everyone kind of distanced themselves. But a few days later, they make up, and Celaena was recognizing her time at the Assassin's Keep was coming to a close. Celaena starts to drink with Ansel in her room. They're kind of celebrating when she suddenly blacks out from the poison in her cup. Celaena wakes up in the middle of the desert with Casita hovering over her. She finds a letter from Ansel saying, quote, sorry it had to happen this way. The master, this is actually not a quote. This is me summarizing. I'm sorry. Sorry it had to happen this way. The master thought this would be easier than publicly shaming you by asking you to leave early. You can keep Casita, and the letter of his approval is in that saddlebag. The only thought Celaena had was that the master must have heard about her fight with Ansel, so he wanted to kick her out. That would not be my first thought, and that was so suspicious.
I know. Based on his action, excuse me, I just almost choked on my own spit. That's based on his actions thus far in the book. I was like, that literally. I mean, I was like, I guess I just didn't want to assume something nefarious was going on. But I was like, that just feels weird. And like, I remember at this point too, she sees the letter with his seal on it, and she is going back and forth internally on if she should open it or not, because if she breaks the seal, then Arobynn will know that she opened it and might think that she altered it. But if she doesn't break the seal, she doesn't know. Maybe he didn't give her approval because they hadn't been training together for that long. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, girl, that would have been me too. I think I would have opened it, but she didn't, which is, she's stronger than I am.
What was not on the letter when she opened the seal?
There was nothing in the letter.
Exactly. Which brings me to my next point. As she heads back to Xandria, she sees, well, I didn't include that in the summary, and I thought that is a good point, but I also don't exactly remember that it's nothing. I'm pretty sure, so I needed you to just confirm it without me explaining this whole thing.
You were really feeling
now that we're
it
here.
out.
As she heads back to Xandria, she sees an army of men from Lord Berick heading to the Assassin's Fortress. She knew that the Assassins couldn't hold up against that many men, so she kind of justifies it first, like, well, they could. But then she's like, nope, it's not the right thing to do. She makes a hot and heads back.
She does event. At first, she's like, yeah, they probably know they're coming. And she, like, straight up goes to Xandria, goes to the city and everything. And then at that point, she decides to, that's when she opens the letter, realizes there's nothing on it, then puts everything together, realizes it was a trick, and then she goes back.
I just wanted you to laugh at my use of a hot U.
I thought you were going to say hot Yui. I like Yui
That was good too. I should have done that. We should have discussed prior to.
Wing and a miss.
By the time she gets back to the fortress, the battle has already started. Many of her fellow assassins are injured or dead, including Mikhail. Hoping to save the mute master, I know, she arrives at his chambers just in time to see none other than Ansel preparing to execute him. Betrayal.
But were we really surprised? Because she already figured it out that it was Ansel.
Right. I think she figured it out on the way. I don't know if
she figured it out. That's why she went back, because she figured it out with the drink and the blank letter and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, duh. We knew Ansel betrayed her.
Because she realized that the only reason she did that, I will say though, at least she thought enough of Celaena to not want her to get stuck in the crossfires.
No. We're getting into it.
But okay, I'm sorry. Keep going.
Getting into it. Okay, Celaena takes Ansel on fighting, just to clarify. And as Ansel has the advantage, she starts doing her villain monologue, very Syndrome of her. And if you don't know Syndrome, once again, add to your weekly movies of children's movies, The Incredibles.
The Incredibles.
Kung Fu Panda and The Incredibles is your homework after this episode. Celaena asks, who killed Mikhail? And Ansel says, I did. Double betrayal. Did you see that coming?
I didn't. No. Definitely didn't see that coming.
Justice for Mikhail. That does not get talked about enough. That is so horrible.
And that, well, at that point, it made me wonder if she was just stringing him along for 3 years.
That's what I thought. You have to think that, because what other explanation? She just killed him willy-nilly.
What a freaking commitment. And that scares me.
And that, ladies and gents,
about
is
her
a
personality. Bit. She was committed to the bit. Oh my goodness.
I know. That's seriously so psycho tendencies. Anyways, Mikhail found out what Ansel was doing and tried to stop her. So did Ilias. So she kills Mikhail because he found out. And so did Ilias, who is now bleeding out on the floor in the master's chambers. Celaena
Can we also,
uses her...
just for a hot second, talk about how sad... Because the mute master is fully present, but sedated, essentially. He's like paralyzed because he drank a paralytic. So he's sitting there watching his son bleed out with
he can't
no
do
help.
Anything. I know.
And he's fully aware. Oh my, that honestly, out of everything that happens in this ending of the novella, that truly got me the most. Way more than the betrayal, than Mikhail and Ansel, way more than the betrayal from Ansel and on Celaena and all that stuff. Like and I don't know if it's because I'm now a parent, so I'm like imagining it from his point of view, but that got me the most.
That'd hurt. Okay. Celaena uses her newly acquired techniques learned from the master to disarm Ansel. She asks Ansel if their friendship was ever real, parentheses heartbreak, and Ansel says, because I didn't go into it too much, but like they really became friends. And yeah, Ansel was petty, but Celaena didn't have a lot of girlfriends, and so for her to be taken under Ansel's wing, and Celaena didn't have friends, so this was so sad that her one friend turns out to be like a total backstabber. But Ansel says when she sent Celaena away to protect her, that was real, and that got me in the feels.
I was like, whatever at that point. Ansel was dead to me, so
you're not gonna like the rest of my reactions then. Celaena tells Ansel that she has 5 minutes to pack her things and leave, because in 20 minutes Celaena is shooting an arrow at her, and if she's not out of range, she won't miss. Celaena saves Ilias and makes sure that the mute master is okay before she heads atop the battlements. And then I'm just going to read the part in page 222 where I cried, because it's so impactful that I'm going to read it anyways. Celaena lowered her bow and watched until Ansel disappeared beyond the horizon. One arrow, that had been her promise. But she also promised Ansel that she had 20 minutes to get out of range. Celaena had fired after 21. The gift of mercy, everyone, will always make me cry. That just tore me up. I don't know. Just that I don't know. I'm reading it now, I'm like, whatever. But I think it was with the whole battle and everything that just happened, and then Celaena kind of reviewing their friendship and giving her one more minute to escape, killed me.
It is, I agree. It is a significantly better ending to this than it would have been if she had done what I would have preferred, which is telling everything happening exactly as it did, and then Celaena saying, I'll give you 20 minutes to pack your stuff and go, but then killing her before she left that room.
Yeah.
That is, in my opinion, how this should have ended. Because here's my thing. I get it that was her like first real friend and stuff, but I'm just like, like at what point do you I don't know. This is gonna
Well,
make me
here's
sound
the
like
thing,
a
and
loser, but I'm just like,
I'm
do what she
gonna
did to you.
I know. I'm gonna get into the next bullet, but this is kind of my big argument on Ansel is that she wasn't just a villain. She was very complicated and dealing with grief in a really bad way.
That's so true.
So the mute master speaks for the
And
first time
Celaena
in
recognizes
forever.
that in herself too.
Right, exactly.
You're right. That's
He
true.
says that he knew that Ansel was working with Lord Berick. The master knew her backstory with Briarcliff and how her father fell to Lord Locke from day one,
Mm-hmm.
and hoped that Ansel would one day trust him enough to tell him her grief. At that point, he would have probably trained her. That's my own deduction. However,
Yeah.
she let the hate fester until it consumed her. So basically, Lord Berick promised her 1,000 men to take back her
Mm-hmm.
land and get revenge on Lord Locke if she helped them take over like the Silent
Well,
Assassin's
it was if she
fortress.
came back with the Mute Master's head.
Oh, that's yes, yes, yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, in that sense, it's not the right thing to do, but she was so hurt and so betrayed, and I think Celaena recognized that it's not, to me, it's not like Ansel just out of nowhere. Now her killing Mikhail, that was like to me a little bit unforgivable, but everything else in this story, I don't know. I can see it both
See,
ways. I have
I'm
mercy
glad
for
we
her
talked
as
about this
well.
because I forgot that that's how it ended.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, like, I feel what I said about wishing that she had just killed Ansel is how I'm feeling about it now after the
Mm-hmm.
fact. But when I was reading it, I felt like you. Like, I was like, what?
Good.
Again, bigger person. Look at you, Celaena. Same
Mm-hmm.
thing, like how you just took the blame after stealing the horses when you did nothing wrong. In this situation, again, you did nothing wrong. And she's trying to, like, goad you the whole time, trying to get you to do all these things, and you're doing your best to not and to be a better person and all that stuff. Like, look at, way to go, girl, on the just maturity and
Yeah,
development
yeah,
here.
yeah.
But and I do agree, like, because if she had done that, then she wouldn't have had this moment where, and because, like, this is kind of, she's healing throughout, I would say, probably well, I'm gonna make a bold a statement here. Based on where I am at in the fourth book in the series, she's healing throughout this entire series. But this
Mm-hmm.
is the beginning of her healing journey. And I think if
Yes.
she, because she takes this lesson that she learns throughout, I mean, it's referenced in the next couple
Mm-hmm.
novellas, even. Like,
It's referenced
so,
throughout the rest of the book, for the rest of the
yeah,
series, the whole book series. So I
yeah,
and I wanted to actually make a note of that this theme of in this was mercy, and also to not let your pain take over your life. Don't let your pain define
yes.
you. Don't let your pain be what your motivator basically. And
Mm-hmm.
remember that, because even Kingdom of Ash, that is a main theme for the rest of the book series. So I really liked that this was kind of the first introduction to the rest of the whole story. So that was cool.
Really, it just, once again,
She
shows
plans
the
years
years
ahead.
of planning, just how beautifully it
I
unfolds,
know.
and you can tell how much
Yeah,
thought goes into everything that she does. Ugh,
I know.
Sarah, marry
So
me.
good. So the mute master says that he won't tell anyone about Ansel and what happened, like her betrayal, because many people believed that she was their friend. And he said, she probably was at times. So that also
Mm,
broke my heart, because it's true. She couldn't have done all of that and just had no. I mean, we kind of assume with Mikhail, but she couldn't have been around all these people and built these relationships and danced with them and partied with them and had
yeah,
friends and not meant any of it. So it's just that
yeah,
pain takes over in horrible ways sometimes. But the
yeah.
ending of this is that the master gifts Celaena beyond belief when she's ready to leave. He gifts her for saving his life and sparing Ansel's. He gives her enough gold to pay off her debts to Erebin and then some. And I
Oh,
cried
this
again.
part got me.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I was so
Okay,
excited.
I don't know if I just, like, missed this in the book or if maybe it's just not explained, but I have a problem with being, like, a little bit too literal when I'm
Mm-hmm.
reading all of these. And how do they make money? Like, how does he have all this gold? They
I don't
all
know.
they do is train and have silent discos. Like, they, I didn't see anything about them. Oh, wait. Don't the dignitaries that come, because they mentioned at one point the dignitaries come and like pay for.
Well, they're assassins,
the assassins
so they're
get all
paid
this
for
money.
jobs to assassinate. And I'm sure the king gets a portion of it, just like Erwin gets a portion.
He's a master. That's probably right.
He still
That's
runs
probably
the whole fortress, so they probably just get little bits of everybody's.
He gets a
commish.
kickback.
Split that commish.
You're so right. Okay. I answered my question in real time. Everyone, this is now you understand. This is my thought process. This is what happens while I'm reading books. But I agree. I was like, honestly, the real MVP of this entire novella is the Mute Master.
Oh my gosh, yes, I love him.
Big fan. I love him too. I want him to be I'm just gonna. I love him.
Where were you going with that? You're what?
I was gonna say my dad, but yeah, I was gonna say dad, but then I was like, she's gonna get weird. So, and now it's weird.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
And so, have a great week, everyone.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
No, but for real, that was it. So have a great week. Okay, we've ended like 3 episodes like that now. You gotta switch it up. Bye.
That's true. No. We are gonna be doing next week the 4th novella, which Ellie, remind me again, what's that one called? Do you remember?
Give me a sec. I have a book in front of me. It's called The Assassin in the Underworld. It's the second to last. So we're almost done with this book. Ooh.
Second to last, and spoiler, my favorite out of all 5.
Yeah.
Not surprising once we get into it. But
I actually don't remember it, so once I reread it, I'll be well versed.
Woohoo! I'm excited for you to remember and talk about it.
Yeah. Me too.
All right. Well, that's that on that. I hope everyone has a great rest of your week. We're going to go to sleep because it's late when we're recording this. But yeah, so that's the end. Again, we're going to end it the same way that we have normally been. Awkward and quick. And with that, have a great rest of your week.